Okay, so let's move on to the second topic, which is about natural cleaning products. Now, this is one I did years ago, and I was like looking over it, and I'm like, man, I need to redo this one because things are different now in the way some things are different, but some things are still the same. So let's talk about some of the different types of natural cleaning products that you can make from just really inexpensive things you probably already have in your home. And if not, well, they're cheap and easy to stock up on these items. So we'll start off with the cleaning powder, which you've heard me talk about quite a bit. So years ago, when I first started my channel, I was using my homemade laundry detergent that was made with my homemade soap, my homemade bar soap. I did originally start off doing it the way everybody else was doing, using like the Fells naphtha and cutting it up. Then I started making my own soap and decided to try that instead because it was more natural. Then in 2020, our washing machine that I loved so much finally died to a point where whatever was wrong with it, Patrick couldn't fix. He's fixed other issues on it in the past. I had that machine for a long time. It was a great front-loading Maytag, but it finally got to where nothing Patrick did, it just wasn't going to work, and it was time. It was time for it to, go to Foreverland. So we had to buy a new washing machine, and we were really limited living remotely. And I had to order online. I ordered it from Costco. I ordered the one that had the biggest tub I could find because I like to wash, big comforters, big king size comforters every so often. And that even in my front loading Maytag did okay, but I wanted to make sure I had more room than even in that. So love the machine. However, what I found when I started using that laundry soap, my little blend there, it was leaving, and I had a lot of people say that, oh, you shouldn't use soap in your washing machine, but I never had issues with my Maytag. But with this, it never caused a problem, but I did notice it building up a residue, and I was pretty sure it was from that. So I thought, if that residue is building up on the inside of my tub, what's it doing to the hoses? So I decided to do a little research and came up with my own laundry powder, but I call it a multi-purpose cleaning powder because I don't use it just for laundry. But ever since I did that, that's what I use in my laundry. Every once in a while, I might add some of my homemade vinegar to it as well. But it's just 3 ingredients. It's just baking soda, washing soda, and salt. Just those 3 ingredients. Baking soda, sodium bicarbonate, and washing soda, sodium carbonate. Washing soda can be typically found in your, sometimes you can find it in the laundry section. Here at our one store, it's found in the hardware section, in the cleaning section of the hardware section, but not over in the laundry section. But like if you go to Walmart, you'll find the washing soda there. Arm & Hammer washing soda. But I have a video too that on washing soda and baking soda, so people would understand what the differences are, and that you can actually make washing soda from baking soda and save yourself a few cents per pound. I still buy washing soda. But anyway, so it's just those: washing soda, baking soda, salt. And this is just whatever cheap salt. I think in the video I said sea salt because that's what I have. I still have, because several years back I bought 2 50-pound bags of sea salt for $8 a piece, $16 for 100 pounds of white salt, sea salt. And so I use that because it's cheap. But when I run out of that, I'll just, whatever the cheapest salt is. And then if you want to, you can add an essential oil to it for added scent. I don't, because I think I did in the video just to show you can do it, but I typically don't do that because to me, it's just a waste of essential oil. I just want something that's going to clean. But here's the great thing about that is you can also, it makes an excellent scouring powder for toilets, tubs, and sinks. I have used it to clean other things as well, like my floors, my linoleum. What else have I used it for? Mostly those. Mostly that stuff. You can use it for stain removal too, applying it directly. But I have some other stain removal ideas that I did a video on years and years ago. But like if you get a stain on, let's say, like if you have Formica countertop, which we still have. One of these days, I really like to get rid of the Formica and do something different. But sometimes it can get, especially over time, as it gets a little worn, it can get stains in it. Like let's say like blackberry stains. One thing that works really well, and you can use this, I've used this on my carpet. And again, it's all natural, very cheap stuff that you probably already have on hand, is a combination of baking soda and peroxide. That works really good for getting stains out of fabrics and countertops like that. And I think, like I said, I know I used it on my carpet. I know I used it on the countertop. I can't remember if I've used it on clothing, but it works kind of like bleach. It's about as good as bleach. So you got to be careful how long you let it sit on your fabrics, but it will take stains out. Now, another one that I just had a short come out on using salt and vinegar for polishing up your copper. Like if you have copper bottom pans, or maybe you have a copper teapot, and it's, it gets that, it kind of turns a little green, a little dark. I used to do this almost every time I washed my copper bottom pans, my Revere ware. Now I don't think about it until I'm looking at it going, man, this looks kind of ugly. I think I need to shine it up. And so I'll just take my homemade vinegar, the clean vinegar, where I already have it in a spray bottle, just spray it on there evenly, sprinkle a little salt over that, and then just kind of gently rub it around, spread it around like this. And that might even take a scrubber, and just, you don't have to scrub hard. You just got to spread it around. You might have spots that you got to scrub a little bit more on. Just soaking in plain vinegar, or homemade vinegar for that matter, your copper, that'll do it too. But if you're not wanting to wait, the vinegar with the combination of the salt works much faster. It's a much faster process. You don't just have to leave it to soak and come back. So if I just had a copper thing, like copper rods or something, I'd just throw them in the vinegar and leave it, and then come back and rinse them off. But for you're washing dishes, you're just wanting to get it done. So you just spray the vinegar on, put the salt on, rub it around. And you might, like I said, you might have to scrub some of the harder spots a little bit, then rinse it. And I'd say wash it again after that, because sometimes it'll leave weird streaks if you don't wash the salt and vinegar off. But it works so well. Vinegar does work really good for, it can work for rust, not as well as certain store-bought things that dissolve rust, but vinegar will work. In that case, we typically just use a cheap store-bought white vinegar for things like that. But yes, it'll get off different, not just calcium, but other types of mineral deposits or buildups that can get on your shower head or different things like that. Just straight vinegar, not mixing it, not watering it down, works very well. I'll do that with our toilet every now and then. It'll build up those mineral deposits, especially if your toilet gets to where it's like flushing, like not as good as it should. It might just need this. I'll just pour like maybe a half gallon sometimes, or even at least a quart of plain white vinegar into the toilet bowl and just let it set. I take one of them little scrubbers and kind of swish it around in there too, so it's getting up into all the little holes, and then let it sit. And then it's amazing how well that works. It just removes those mineral deposits. I usually let it soak for quite a number of hours, overnight, preferably. We were talking about plain vinegar. So plain vinegar, well, you can water it down if you want, but it works for a lot of things. So like I mentioned earlier, you can use it in your laundry. I've actually washed clothes before adding just homemade vinegar to it. That worked pretty good. I do prefer using the powder over the vinegar, or using both, but you can do that. You can use plain vinegar, homemade or whatever, to add that to your dishwasher. If you don't have any dish soap, you won't have any suds, but not your dish water. So either your dishwasher or your dish water, if you're washing by hand, and you can get your dishes clean with that. It'll get them clean. You won't have your nice suds, but it will work. It might not work as well as getting like greasy stuff as having some kind of soap does, but it still can clean pretty well. I use my homemade cleaning vinegar definitely for my floors. I've used it on my carpets as well, like adding it to my carpet cleaning water. Countertops, especially anything where I might be preparing food at all, the vinegar, because it's going to be safe. It's a cleaning vinegar. I don't have to worry about that. I've used it for windows too. That's pretty much all I ever use on my windows. And I'll spray it on straight. You might have to kind of rinse it off a little bit, but I'll use that for cleaning glass, mirrors, windows, and so on. Anyway, what else? Was there anything else? So floors, counters. What does that say? Oh, carpets. I could have sworn that looked like it said corpses. I'm pretty sure I didn't write corpses on there. Carpets. And I did already say that. I tell you guys, I have terrible handwriting, and half the time I don't understand what I wrote. Now, it's not like I never use my homemade soap for other types of cleaning things, but mostly that's what I use when it comes to just household cleaning stuff. Tubs, toilet seats, floors, carpets, clothes, dishes, and so on. Well, I shouldn't say I always use that stuff for dishes, because I'm really liking the Azure Standard dish soap, their natural dish soap in the citrus. The smell of that is so much nicer than the lemon verbena. Usually it's the other way around in other brands, but in the Azure Standard brand, it's, I got that. I'm glad I like it because I got the big gallon size. But if I got to a point where I couldn't get or didn't have dish soap, I ran out, I'd use the homemade vinegar or the cleaning powder. I've used that in my dishwasher, which only gets used maybe once or twice a year. And I've used it in the sink, added it to my dishwater when I'm washing by hand. Just to try it. It works. Just make sure you rinse it well. If you're using it in your dishwasher, make sure you add vinegar to the rinse cycle to help get, the powdery stuff off of your dishes, or it might leave stuff on there. We found another good use for Dawn dish soap. We use it with water and ACV to attract and kill fruit flies. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've heard of people doing that. I can't remember if I've tried the dish soap. I've done the vinegar thing. I've made little fruit fly traps. But the thing I like best is that electric swat. I don't know if you call it electric. You charge it. That thing works so good for fruit flies. And all those other, in the little gnats and those other little flies, just zap, zap, zap. And it's kind of fun. But we get these one little tiny, I think these might be gnats. The ones that just want to get right in your face, they're not fruit flies. I think they're a little smaller than fruit flies, but they just want to get right in your face, and they're just flying all around. And I'll grab that swatter thing. It's got a thing about that big, and just sometimes they move and you can't always see them when you're trying to swat at them. So you just keep swinging that thing until you hear snap. Oh, got it. I love that. Snap, snap, snap. And then there's those mini house flies, the ones that always fly in a square. Snap, 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 snap. Oh, it's so fun. It's so cathartic. It makes you feel really accomplished. I just killed me some flies. I'm a great hunter.